The ads are everywhere. Flyers, neon signs, billboards. All of them written in some weird foreign language I can't find any match for. Plastered with goofy artwork of bug-eyed hot dogs and steaks and less identifiable things. People stop and stare at them compulsively. Pupils dilating while their clouded minds register God only knows what. A lot of people say the same exact thing, in the same exact tone and rhythm, every single time. That sounds good enough to eat. I hear it 100 times a day. Well, when I risk going out anyways. Then they'll head straight to one of the impossible windows, the infected supermarkets, the rapidly multiplying vending machines, or one of the green doors. Those awful fucking green doors. I don't know if they're actually new, or I'm just newly capable of seeing them. The first one I noticed had grown, for lack of a better word, on the back wall of a local ShopRite. An ugly faded seafoam affair, smeared window shaped like the Burgrr logo, chrome handle flaked with rust, same as all the others I've seen since. People were coming and going at a steady pace, but even when I staked it out for a good 6 hours, I never saw the same patron coming back out again. I guess I should have been a big warning sign, but I couldn't take it, I had to know. It didn't lead into the store, of course. I knew it wouldn't. As soon as I stepped inside, I was assaulted by the sound of eating, feasting. Wet, breathy chewing sound drowning out everything else, tugging at my gag reflex. There were bars, tables, and booths scattered in disorganized pattern around rows and rows of buffets. Many seats were occupied, but the bulk of the customers were eating on foot, wolfing shit down right out of the bars as they went along. I knew none of them could comprehend what they were really doing, where they really were. The decor was almost but not quite in the style of a retro 50s diner. Maybe with a dash of Dr. Seuss. A lot of the furnishings looked chunky, soft and plastic, like they were designed for children, though I can't imagine any child with such depressing taste. Booths were lined with putrid off-green cushions. Tables were a hideous yellow tan with chipped chrome trimmings. The floors were pale blue tile, like a public restroom, many pieces missing or disheveled. The walls were more of that tacky chrome, interrupted by fake wood paneling, giving way to glass windows from about waist height to the ceiling. Yes, windows. Not visible from outside. I had stepped through the door in the middle of one plain, solid brick wall, but from inside, it was glass all around. They were so thick with grime that I could scarcely see through them, but I could tell that it wasn't the correct view from behind the ShopRite. It looked more like some murky storybook vista. Simple, blocky houses on rolling green hills. Despite the steady stream of people coming through the door, I couldn't see a single sign of movement or life out there. I began to wonder if I might look suspicious, just standing around and gawking while everyone else was heading straight for the food. I thought I might as well make some effort to blend in. Mistake number one. Most of the offerings were typical of the shit coming out of the takeout windows or invading the grocery shelves. A heap of raw, red steak sat on a bed of black, clotted blood. Oversized, pasty white drumsticks dribbled cold yellow juices. A long trough of chunky pinkish slop jiggled like pudding as people scooped it into their trays, or straight into their grease-caked faces. I think I pulled my shirt up over my nose around this point. I thought I recognized a lot of exotic fare, frog's legs, chicken feet, beef tripe, but I couldn't be quite certain. I wasn't sure if chickens had that many toes, or any frogs I knew of grew exactly that large. There was a tray of what I thought were fat, segmented seed pods, until one of them abruptly curled up and uncurled, twice, like a beckoning finger. Absolutely made my skin crawl. There were tongues, there were brains, there was something like clear yellow spaghettis in a pasty brown sauce. At least that's what I'm going to keep telling myself it was. There were fish fins and goat eyes and even bones. Just steaming hot, perfectly bare white bones. I could barely take the sight of anyone eating. Miss Faber, a grim and crotchety old bag from down the street, was digging like an excited child through a big heap of what looked like horse teeth, sucking off whatever scraps of gum tissue she could find. I felt my stomach shudder. We made eye contact, and for a moment, I almost thought I saw a look of horrified clarity. Just the fog was almost lifting from her mind, and she was just about to ask me what in God's name she was doing. Instead, her eyes glazed over and she smiled that chillingly idiotic smile. "Just like Mama used to make," she said in a hockey, sing-songy tone she'd have never been caught dead using. popping another gnarled, yellowed molar into her mouth and sucking noisily. I could taste my own bile by the time I backed away from the godless orgy of culinary depravity. That's when I seen it, the thing I've come to think of as an egghead. It was wobbling around the bars, arms flailing blindly. A chalk-white, naked, sexless human figure dominated by a featureless beach ball of a head. A stick figure made of flesh. The alien invasion theory was already sounding better and better. The thing was working its way down one aisle at a time, and didn't look at first like it had any particular goal in mind. It occasionally clutched at someone's hair or clothing, almost as though desperate for attention or even in need of help, but nobody so much as blinked in its direction. I assumed I could get away with ignoring it like everyone else, until it finally hobbled its way down the opposite aisle and crossed my direct line of sight. It froze there. The blank, smooth egg face turned directly towards me. I don't remember the sprint home, but I do remember it was dead of night when I exploded out of that ugly, greasy green door. It couldn't have been later than noon when I first entered, and I couldn't have been oogling the horrors therein for more than 50 minutes, from my perspective. I don't know if anything followed me, but I barricaded myself in my bedroom that night, just to be safe. The doors and the windows are everywhere. If you are listening to this, only go out when you must, and don't go anywhere new. It might be newer than you think.